Now request the Director Sir to present a memento to Mrs. Uma Parmeshwaran, CEO of Cytec Patent as a mark of memory and respect. I request the Director Sir to present a memento to Dr. Kameshwara Sir for organizing this wonderful workshop on the whole faculty member.
Thanks a lot for all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I take the opportunity to mention the gratitude and thank our Director Sir, Dr. C.V. Krishna Reddy Sir, for the providence towards the workshop. I thank Dean School of Engineering, Dr. G. Janardhan Raju Sir, for facilitating the conduct of the workshop. I thank Mrs. Uma Parmeshwaran, the CEO of Cytec Patent Arts, for her valuable time and the insight of patents she provided as well. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Dr. Kameshwara Sir for organizing the workshop on patents and throwing light on important aspects of it. I thank Dean School of Pharmacy, Dr. C.H. Krishna Mohan Sir, and Dean School of Management Sciences, Dr. V. Venkatramana Sir, for the grace their presence added to this workshop. I thank the heads of the departments for making it being here, adding value, balancing the departmental functions. I thank all the professors and faculty members for their participation in this workshop. Thank you all.
So that also qualifies for a fine. Okay. So I think this is actually a very, very complex topic, and we can actually have, as you said 10-day course. Yeah, we could have multiple sessions, just go on talking, but if I have at least given you the flavor, I would still consider it a very useful session. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I can spend 3 minutes answering these questions.
For accepting our invitation to come here and out of experience, she lives in Hamsipura. I don't want to do all details, but you can approach her or any software she is at home. Very glad to teach, explain all sorts of things you can do. All Saturdays and Sundays she is free, but take her appointment and try to be in touch with her. Not a worker under that, but 2.5 years. She was my boss.
Oh, come on.
And very, very cooperative, very good heart. So I thank you very much on behalf of the party. We have an accession after the tea, and you have to come back. Don't miss my lecture.
Actually, Dr. Rao had the IP experience even before he joined us, and he used to share. And actually, you didn't talk about your Japan visit. Probably you.
I thought about it.
You are going to talk about it. Yeah, that's
there in Japan.
He was trained in IP in Japan. I visited many countries after I learned Japan, but after I learned IP, But he learned the very strong basics of IP in Japan. And Japan is a very, very advanced nation. So you are my guru.
Now request the Director Sir to present a memento to Mrs. Uma Parmeshwaran, CEO of Cytec Patent as a mark of memory and respect. I request the Director Sir to present a memento to Dr. Kameshwara Sir for organizing this wonderful workshop on the whole faculty member.
Thanks a lot for all of you.
Thank you, sir. need to mention the gratitude and thank our director, Sir Dr. C.V. Krishna Reddy, Sir, for the providence towards the workshop. I thank Dean School of Engineering, Dr. G. Janardhan Raju, Sir, for facilitating the conduct of the workshop. I thank Mrs. Uma Parmeshwaran, the CEO of Scientific Patent Arts, for her valuable time and the insight of patents she provided as well. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Dr. Kameshwara, Sir, for organizing the workshop on patents and throwing light on important aspects of it. I thank Dean School of Pharmacy, Dr. C.H. Krishna Mohan, Sir, and Dean School of Management Sciences, Dr. V. Venkatramana, Sir, for the grace their presence added to this workshop. I thank the heads of the departments for making it being here, adding value, balancing the departmental functions. I thank all the professors and faculty members for their participation in this workshop. Thank you all. Morning greetings to the Honorable Director, Sir, of Nalagasamari Group of Institutions, Dr. C.V. Krishna Reddy, Sir, Dean School of Engineering, Dr. J. Janardhan Raju, Sir, Dean School of Pharmacy, Dr. C.H. Krishna Mohan, Sir, Dean School of Management Sciences, Dr. V. Venkatramana, Sir, heads of respective departments, School of Engineering, professors and faculty members. Wish you all a very good morning. The gathering this morning is to familiarize with and acquire knowledge about patent-based research methodology. What is it in detail? License-based or manifestation-based research method. How is it applicable in our professional stream? Its advantages and all its extra things. To facilitate the understanding of it, we have with us Dr. Kameshwara, Sir, NLRG families, senior and respected member, and Mrs. Uma Parmeshwaran, the CEO of Scientific Patent Art Services. Let me introduce you to the dimensions of Dr. C.H. Kameshwara's professional personality. Down the timeline. Dr. Chellapilla Kameshwara, Sir, known to us as a professor of mechanical engineering, graduated in the same stream from Anantapur Government Engineering College in 1968. Obtained his MTech in 71 and PhD in 76 from Andhra University, Valve. He taught at the same place, AU College, for 5 years, worked for BHGL in R&D division in various capacities, from senior manager vibrations and structure dynamics to deputy general manager and head intellectual properties management for 26 years. He worked at the University of Ottawa, Canada for 2 years as visiting professor. He has 3 Indian patents granted in the area of diverter damper related to combined cycle power plant. He worked as Dean, HOD and Principal at various reputed engineering colleges. He worked as a manager, client relations in Scientific Patent Art Services Private Limited and managed patent-related analytics, projects in mechanical and electrical engineering area. He attended more than 44 national and international conferences, published more than 70 papers. It is a renowned writer and poet in Telugu and English literature. I request Dr. Kameshwara, Sir, to introduce the concept and its proceeding to the gathering today.
Good morning to all. See, the title looks to be a little different, but it is same as your research methodology subject, which is there for management course. You study a course. Research methodology is a course in management school, and research methodology is also a course. Every researcher has to register for PhD. In JNDU, you have to attend evening classes in research methodology. So the purpose of that course is to mainly make you come close to what are the various methods, steps involved in working for PhD, getting a degree, publishing a paper, a journal, and ultimately become some important person in that technical area where you specifically work. So, yes, research is not just routine. Research has its own uniqueness. Each subject is different, and each subject, one topic is different, and each topic what you can do is different. Very vast. And that's why we say out of the box type of thinking is necessary. Routine is not going to help the researcher. It is not a processed one, it's not a linear logic. You know what is meant by linear logic? Linear logic is one question will be asked, the answer will be there, another one. So it is a sequential one. Research is not a sequential one. It is more or less very close to random. That is why people say, even though we teach some methods, system, these are the sequence, even though all this is done, this is not just a routine. If you just think that this is, if I follow all these routine things, I will get a PhD, you are thoroughly wrong. Okay, so our attempt is to make you understand that it is not just papers which you should read. Most of the researchers are working for PhD, they only review papers published in journals. Research review, literature review is a part of your PhD thesis. One chapter it will be. So when you collect all papers, put them together and then write a review paper or a review of literature, and at the end, after all this review is over, you are having one topic on which nothing is done earlier or something is done, something special you are doing. So all this you will explain in the literature review. And you say, this is what I am trying to do. Something new than whatever is already exists. That's how you go. But unfortunately, it is not enough. Because most of the papers will be maybe 8 pages, 10 pages, 12 pages, and drawings will be there, description will be very detailed, not more detail will be there. Most of the research papers are brief, otherwise they cannot manage. Journal will insist that it cannot be more than 8 pages or 12 pages. There will be a restriction on number of pages. So even though you collect a lot of papers, the description about it, detail about them will not be there. You may have to go back to a textbook, if any textbook is available, or if you may have to go back to a conference volume, if conference proceedings are available. In spite of their freely available literature on the net, many are not accessible. Either you have to pay, or you have to buy, these things are there. So the point I am trying to make is, a paper may give you a outward view, but not a detail. So, in comparison with the paper today, if you look for patented technologies in that area, your knowledge about the topic is much more than the knowledge that you can get through a paper. I'll explain. A patent, if it is to be granted, a patent specification, which may run into 8 pages or 200 pages, there is no limit on patent number of pages. But it should explain every damn thing about the topic. This is a restriction. If you don't disclose completely your technology on which you are trying to get a patent, it will not be accepted. Patent specification, what do you say, madam? Patent specification should expose or come out with every damn thing around it. It should be self-sufficient. Anybody who is given that paper, a book, that's enough. No need of discussion with the fellow who has filed the patent also. Inventor, you need not discuss with inventor. You should be self-explanatory and take every damn thing about around. Don't you think that that type of a document if you access and read, it will be more useful than simply a paper? This fact is not known to many. One reason for us to have a 3-hour seminar like this is to make you aware of some of these nuances which may make your research study better than what you are practicing till now. So that is one thing. Second thing is, patented literature 15 years back has to be paid. $9, $10. We have to pay, even in our Indian patent office also, in the Calcutta. You have to go to the patent office, then go there, get it Xerox, and you have to pay and get that. Fortunately today, all these US patents, European patents, everything is openly, freely available on the net. You go to the patent site, and then you have a PDF file, you download the PDF file, you can read it. So freely available literature is there on patented technologies. So why not use it? And moreover, all these things are available through databases. Very simple database which everybody can access is patents.google.com. No. Patents, HTTP, then you slashes patents.google.com. It's a website by itself. Just write the keywords for your topic. Type the keywords and you get a Google page and you search. You will also get so many pages. Go on opening each HTML file, then you will find HTML file, but at the right side you find if you want to download it as a PDF, download PDF is also there. Not for every patent, but 90% of the patents, if they are granted, that is there. Download. So patents are, this is an open site, anybody can, and today, as compared to some 5 years back, this Google patent site is very exhaustive. But madam, you get almost European patents, almost all the patents will come. But there is another patent site, freepatentsonline.com. www.freepatentsonline, very easy to remember, no gaps in between. freepatentsonline.com. That is another free site. You only have to register your email address and then have a password, and you have all the facility to download any patent. So lot of opportunities are there to get almost all the patents required in your area. What is the advantage of looking at it? First thing, as I told you, is a very detailed description of a technology. About in technical papers, only 2 or 3 lines will be there, one figure will be there. Whereas here, explanation will be something like explaining in an experiment. Very detailed. Numbers will be 121, 131. Very detailed explanation. I think you should experience it. You have to believe me. We are all working in that area, that's why I am saying. So, in spite of all this data available, very few people access patent information. The reason is one. If anybody says patent, I don't have any innovation, I don't have any patent to file, so I don't need to know about patent. Is it not the feeling that all of you have? If anybody says about patent, nothing to do with me, my research is different, my paper publication is different, like that they talk. So it's all because of ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. So fine, everybody is enjoying. But we thought we want to break silence and break eyes and make you people look at other great information which is available, but you are not in a position to utilize. So this is the main aim behind this workshop. Really ask questions, and as much as possible we will try to answer. But only one thing I will tell you. Both of us, she is from a company, Psychic Patent Craft, which is making money like anything. I'm not joking. She started as a 9-member team initially. 4 team. And today about 120 people are there. And 5 crores, 6 crores building, they could build by getting profits. IT company, you see, something very similar to IT company. What is the advantage of an IT company? What is the advantage of intellectual property? I'll tell you. Physical property enhancement of its value is very slow. Maybe 20%. At maximum 10%, 20%. What about real estate enhancements, sir? Value addition, very slow. Go to IT company, what is its profit? 40%. How are they achieving 40% profit? They need to have only PCs or laptops. There is software related expenses only in a building, PAC room. That's all, nothing more. Whereas they get a lot of money for each service they do. $1,000, $10,000. They make money. 40% profit every year. Is it possible in any other business? And what do they do? Mostly copy paste. Nothing else. But don't laugh. Copy pasting also needs a lot of patience and capability. What you are copy pasting also you should know. Exactly, madam is complaining that some engineers who are joining, they do not even read what they are copy pasting.
No, they don't know copy paste.
They don't know what is copy pasting. So, there is a very good report by the Chamber of Commerce, which if somebody wants, I will share with them. That reported for the last 10 years, 8 years, when the IT companies boom has come, from that day onwards till today, they spoiled almost all the employees of IT companies by only making them do copy pasting in a better way. Better way, best way. Only copy pasting. No need for them to write their own sentences. No need, they should not write. In fact, in patent area, you should not write your own sentence. You should simply copy paste, cut back. Because that's a legal document, legal technical document, no changes to be made. So you can't add words to that. No, the sentence is not alright, let me rewrite. You can't do that. So many places it is like that. Some companies are there which are only getting some big data. From that data you have to prepare electricity bills or something. Most of the services that are there in IT area are all copy-paste technologies. That is why our by-hearting and spitting type of fellows are going into copy-paste there. All our engineers are by-hearting and spitting excellence, experts. All in one, right? 10 questions for the exam. And all 10 questions, they'll predict these 10 questions enough. So they'll read on, they'll prepare only for those. And then they don't even understand concepts. They by heart excellently just sit on the answer sheet, they get marks. Same questions again and again. Same questions again and again. So, and nobody says copyright infringement when they copy paste into the question paper. In fact, they are expected to write in their own words. We should not give marks. We should in fact, strike it off and put 0. If he is not writing in his own words an answer, unfortunately, this is going on for it, and we can't stop it. Anyway, I am complaining because people should know that that is a infringement on somebody's copyright. By-hearting and spitting is that the text is not yours. It is not, no word is yours. Somebody has written the text and you are by-hearting and writing it as your own answer. Is it your answer? Your answer means in your own words, please. Even accept definitions. Accept. Say definitions also tell me about the same thing. 10 people write definitions in his own way. So definition also need not be exactly same. If you write in your own words, then only you understood. Let me tell you, conceptual understanding comes only if you are writing in your own words. Patent specification should be written in their own words. They can't again take partly from another patent, this patent, that. If you write a patent specification, copy paste from 4 or 5 patents, you will be thrown out. You will not get granted. So anyway, I think you got the message. Let us see how it goes. This subject is very vast. If you give me time, it's a 10 days course.
from morning 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night. Every day you visit also. So many cases are there which we can share with you. But that much of luxury we don't have. So please listen to us. Take it seriously. And if after this workshop is over, if everybody is accessing patents.google, downloading a lot of patents, and looking at them, making some good reports, I will be the happiest. Not only me, Madam also. Thank you very much. We'll go.
Thank you, sir. Now let me introduce to you Mrs. Uma Parmeshwaran, the Chief Executive Officer of SciTech Patent and Services. SPA is a leading intellectual property technology services firm specialized in patent searching and patent analytics. Mrs. Uma is the first employee of SciTech Patent Art. She has played a major role in helping the firm build the scalable business processes that have allowed the firm to thrive and establish a position as the leading patent analytics provider out of India. Before joining the firm, Mrs. Uma had worked in the area of catalysis for over 25 years. She served as research manager at the Associate Cement Companies Limited (ACC) in Mumbai. Her practical experience at ACC, moving projects from concept to commercializations, significantly helped her in managing the growth of SPA. From 4 employees in 2002 to over 90 employees in 2012. Mrs. Uma holds a Master's in Chemistry from University of Mumbai. She holds a postgraduate diploma in patent law, Hyderabad. She is also a registered patent agent. We welcome you to NLRG, madam. I request madam to come forward and commence the workshop proceedings.
All the hospitality, and I almost went back to my student days, which is almost half a decade, I would say now. The world has changed so much, and the change these days, is so fast, it's very difficult to imagine. When I joined this company in 2002, between 2002 and 2016 itself, I feel that every 5 years, the change has happened so fast, and especially with the advent of the mobile phone, smartphone, it's a completely different world. I'm not even comparing it with when I was a student or when I was holding a job in traditional R&D prior to 2002. Today it is completely different, and it's not enough if we hold the most recent fancy gadget in our hand, even our mindset. Our approach to technology, basically you are all on the technology side, so your approach to technology should completely change. Otherwise, India will never progress. We will still be fighting the same battle in the international forum. So with this introduction, I'll take you back to how we did R&D. Maybe, I quit ACC in 2002. I joined sometime I think in 1975, so 26 years I was there in R&D. So I'll tell you how we did R&D those days, and then I'll tell you how I learned how Americans, Europeans, Japanese do after I moved to this company. And I'm also seeing how it is being done now, particularly in private companies, more so in pharma companies. They are all very, very patent savvy, and even in CSIR, which is the government arm of R&D, because today I know students have that dream of taking up government jobs. If they want to go on the technology side also, they want to get into government labs, do R&D and so on and so forth. So those days, when I joined the company in R&D, I joined straight away in R&D, and I was in catalysis, which was a very high-tech area even those days. But that was an era of import substitution. Okay, it was very difficult to import things into India. So the government mandate was those days to replicate whatever technology we were importing, we were losing our own dollars. So the government encouraged everybody to actually copy, what you said, copy. It's exactly what we did. So let's say that we wanted to reproduce one material. So we would first import it, analyze it in the lab. So we would know exactly the physical, the chemical characterization results would be there with us. Then we would go back to the bench. We would read literature, not patents. Those days internet was not there at all. So there was no question of actually even getting to know, from sources like you have today. We didn't even know, and nobody even thought about patents because India was not at all there under the patent regime. All this, as I told you, has happened very, very quickly. I think in 1995, when we signed the TRIPS agreement internationally, that was when India was given 10 years time. So WIPO, which was established at that time, the World Intellectual Property Organization, gave India 10 years time, and they said by 2005, you also have to be tuned to this regime, and the basic rule was that you will stop copying and you will start respecting others' intellectual property. So now if you try to define intellectual property is nothing but creativity of the mind. You create property which is intangible. You cannot really measure it, but that is with your own mental faculty, not just copy. And if you look at actually we are in what is called as so today, is this connected? See, today we live in what is called as a knowledge economy. I'm sure you all read newspapers. Yeah? So you probably are quite familiar with some of the terms that I'm using. Today we are residing in a real knowledge economy where knowledge is valued like anything. Even the smartphones that we are holding today in our hands, pura duniya hai tumhara mutti mein, that is also only out of the knowledge base. Completely out of knowledge and education is what we have created this. So, but in earlier, let's say this is I took it from 1978 data. See, tangible assets, building, and all the physical assets that a company has. The evaluation used to be made based on only those tangible assets, and 80% of that evaluation was from tangible assets. Only 20% was from the intellectual property, okay, which is again intangible. And 10 years later, can I use this?
Next slide.
Yeah. So 10 years later, that is in 1988, you can see that whatever was 80%, by then in 10 years, almost 50% of the company evaluation was based on intangible assets. Let's move another 10 years. 70%, 1997, 70% of evaluation was through intangible assets, which is like intellectual property. I will define intellectual property again. Only 20%. You know which kind of companies actually fall in this bracket? These are companies with which you are very, very familiar. Amazon. Click of a button. They were the trendsetters. Today, most of us, including me, I would consider still myself as an old school, but still most of the even grocery shopping, even Amazon is even offering groceries now. Most of the grocery shopping happens only with click of a button. That's all. One click, put everything in the cart and order everything in the easy. It's a complete, change, right? Indians always enjoy going to the shop, go to 4 shops, 6 shops, see where the quality is good and where it is cheap, and then carry, and then Traditionally, that is how we have been doing things. But today, even elderly people have completely changed their mindset. Anything you want, just go to the net, and day after day after day, the first page is screaming with advertisements from these online shopping only. Flipkart. If Flipkart advertises, next day it is Amazon. Third is TV channels. You were saying the same advertisement. So even if you are not familiar, you will also start thinking that. And all this is happening, only because of technology. What else? It is technology. The way, you don't have to do anything. I don't think you even need any capital. You only should know how to source material, you should know how to deliver it safely, timely delivery, and then you have a big business empire. And all these apps that you have today, whether you want a taxi or whatever, how is it all happening? It's all technology. And how is that technology actually, how is that technology being owned? See, everybody is actually doing it in a different way. Everybody is doing it in a different way. It's not as if the way Amazon is doing and Flipkart is doing. There are some minor changes, so it's not the same. So that is where intellectual property is. So if you see, Amazon has patterns on how to do online business. All you have to do is go to a website called uspto.gov. It is even much easier than Google, because at least Google will give family patterns. It still doesn't reduce it. I'll talk about what are family patterns. USPTO will give you only US patterns, and most of these companies which are leaders in technology, they will definitely have those patterns are easily available. So go there, you can do some very simple searches. Are you going to demonstrate research? Maybe if they are interested, we can have another session on research. So Procter & Gamble, the company which sells all the personal care products, lovely shampoos and L'Oreal and P&G, you keep seeing those advertisements. The way they conduct research, the way they actually develop technologies is really, really amazing. So we have a lot of inventions around this. But innovation is slightly different. Innovation is where you can actually convert that into a tangible application and it is taken to the market. Suppose you have some development. It should be something that cannot be scaled up, because if you really have to commercialize it, if you have to take it to the market, it has to be scaled up. So the technology that we develop should also be in such a way that it can be scaled up, number one. And then it can also be applied in some area, and then it will also go to the market. So at least when companies do research, these three expectations are there. Only all the research projects that are selected are based on three objectives. Now, patents. When will that project be eligible, that technology or invention be eligible for a patent filing? So there are certain criteria there. First thing is, it should be novel. What is novel? Novel is something that is unique, something that is new, which is not there in prior art. So again, prior art is a very, very important term in patent parlance. So prior art is something that existed prior to what you did. For example, you are talking about copying. So what he meant was that prior to, let's say, your research, whatever you have planned in the lab, if somebody has already worked in a similar manner, then there is no point in you also doing the same thing. I hear that even today, earlier it wasn't happening, but today DST, when it actually funds projects, they actually ask for all this patent study so that they know that if they are funding, let's say 5 crores or 10 crores or 20 crores for projects, then there is clarity right in the beginning that the researcher will not copy. So they ask them to submit a prior article. Suppose I am working on some technology, maybe it is something very, very simple. Maybe this wrapper that is there. I have an idea, I am a polymer scientist and I want to develop something, let's say that is, I would say that doesn't crease. I'm just thinking through my head. will not tear, will keep the flowers fresh. Maybe it has breathability, there are pores. Maybe it looks more beautiful, I can draw more designs, can be printed. You know, a lot of things you can go on imagining. So again, patent is given for something that is an incremental improvement. It need not be something absolutely new, gigantic. You need not think that it is some technology is a very big word. So you need not think that it is something that is amazing. Anything that can be improved. That is how technology progresses. It's not as if, you just see the kind of phones that we used to have. I remember 2001, 2002, that was the time when mobile phones actually entered India. Okay? So they were the simplest. Even typing a message, only we had this, if you wanted additional letters, you have to type it twice, thrice and all that. From there, now you have come to smartphones, touch phones. So from there to, let's say, in the last 14 years, just see the journey. And every phone that came after that was only a slightly incremental improvement. Even today, it's not as if it is going to stop here. Now we have gone to video calls. I don't know tomorrow what it will be. I don't know, we may not live, but I'm just wondering, we order foods in restaurants and they have to deliver. Maybe tomorrow delivery also will happen through phone. I don't know, we are going to that level. So incremental improvement is what is required in the project that you do, if you are undertaking a research project. And to know that your objective is an improvement, you should know what people did before. For that you need to know prior art. This is the basic level that you should learn and implement when you are a student and working on a research project. Just like when we go for a PhD, first year actually goes only in all this literature searches. But all we are saying is do not stop with literature, because literature is only 20% of information, technical information that is there around us. Actually 80% is hidden only in patents. Also, as an information source, a patent, it is freely available. Dr. Rao just now said, you go to US video, you go to, I think you talked about free patents, then you talked about free patents online, and not only that, Indian Patent Office used to be absolutely backward, technologically challenging once upon a time. Everything was through hard copies. But with international pressure, other offices have gone very fast. In fact, probably 15 years ago, China was not very much ahead of us. But today, US is learning from China. So that is the level to which even Chinese patent office has gone. And when I got into the patent line, we used to constantly monitor patents from US, Europe and Japan. But today, there is a change and we constantly monitor China first. The number of patents that are coming out of Chinese universities particularly has already surpassed filings from US and Europe. That much of education, I would say, has happened in Chinese universities, and students are being encouraged to not only publish but also file patents for all the research work that they do. I'll come to some of the intelligence information that companies look for no patents separately, but even within Government of India, just like I said, import substitution, when the patent regime started in 2005, Professor Mashelkar was the Director General of CSIR. So he wanted to, first of all, he wanted to take the CSIR labs to a certain level, in the international. So he said, publish or perish. So he really inculcated that discipline in CSIR labs, and then a lot of scientists there got very, very motivated, and India started seeing from Indian universities, from CSIR and all, we started seeing a lot of publications, that is in technical journals. With good citations, high impact journals, very good technologies. Then what happened? See, patent also offers you a protection. Protection meaning because it is your own intellectual property, something that you have created with your mind. You file a patent and you protect it. Meaning nobody can copy it. If they copy it, if you're reading, that's why I asked you right in the beginning whether you all read newspapers. Practically every month or so, you must be reading about some fight within two companies over patents. Earlier, it used to be more on the pharma side. Today, it is more on the smartphones. Right? You had what, Samsung versus Apple versus Samsung. And there also, see, there is also something called international. So the first thing is, if you are filing in a patent in India, it's not enough. If you want to protect your invention, you file in India. But if you want to protect it, let's say in Korea, from where the Samsung and LG, they are, especially Samsung is now becoming a world leader. In no time they are catching up on technology. If you want to protect it there from Samsung, then you have to file it in Korea. If you want to protect it in the US, you don't want Apple to copy that feature, then you have to file it in US. So you have to file in whichever country, wherever you want to do business, you have to file your patent so that you can protect it from what is called as infringement. Now in patent, as Dr. Rob said, we write a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, I am not doing any dynamic this thing.
Ensure. And talk about it.
So what is the patent again? It's a monopoly right. So you own whatever your invention is. It is a protection that is given by the government. It's not any private authority. The inventor, that is, if you have made the invention, or if somebody has funded your research, then the person who has funded that research becomes the signee. Meaning, if you are working in this college and you have invented something, you are filing a patent, you are the inventor. But the patent is also owned by the assignee, which is the college. Okay, maybe you jointly own it. That is again entirely legal. What kind of an arrangement you have? For a limited period, it's not as if you file a patent and you can enjoy the monopoly till the end of your life. So it's for a period of 20 years from the day you file the first application. Again, if we go on the procedural side, again, it's very, very elaborate and it's very legal. So I won't talk much about it. I will talk about why you should do, what you should do and what you should not do. And then it is, as I said, it is only valid within the country of grant. Suppose I filed a patent in India, an Indian patent. Suppose I have filed it today, then this becomes what is called as the priority date. That is the first filing. I can file the final draft, or if I am seeing some interesting results come out of the research, I can write out just 1 or 2 pages covering all the important aspects. This is called a provisional specification. Just file it, take a date. Then the government, the patent office gives you 12 months from the date of provisional filing, within which you have to file the final. And then it goes through an elaborate prosecution, just like again a court of law. They will look at what prior art you have disclosed. Again, we will come to the disclosure part separately, what we have to write in the document. Then they will see how your invention is different from prior art. And the approach is always that the patent examiner will try not to give you the patent. So he will challenge you. So you have to very patiently go back and explain what is the difference between the technology that existed before you and how your research is different from that. And then that will become again, as I said, it will be just a very small difference most of the time. Because you won't write everything in one patent, and a patent is granted only for one invention, not for multiple inventions. So once it is granted, in India it may take even up to 8 years. Earlier it used to be even longer, 5 to 8 years reasonably okay. In US and all, within 2.5 years from the final specification submission, you will get your patent. So India is also improving. Now they have also made it online. We are able to submit online. Earlier we had to send it by courier and a lot of documentation was there. But now we are even able to upload the soft copies. So technology is making a lot of things easy even in the Indian patent office. So as I said, it's not as if you can file patents only for some major inventions. 1899 or something is what I remember reading. Ballpoint pen. One inventor, his name was B.O. actually. He filed the patent for a ballpoint pen. That time he did not even know that it was great. He was a journalist and also I think he was a researcher. And he was getting very irritated because the kind of inks that he was using, they were constantly choking. The flow was not uniform. So he could not write. It used to sort of dry up in between. So he thought, what kind of ink can I use and all that. So he visited some printing press. He saw what kind of ink, how it is drying fast, what is the viscosity. Then he tried some formulations and this work, and that is how the first ball pen came. So according to even those times, it was just a slight variation of the traditional fountain pen ink. The concept took the ink and then everything came in the refill. The outer covering is the same. You just put it in, screw it, and then it is ready to fill. So similarly, if you also see, these beverage cans have that pulling ring, right? There is a patent even on that. See, that's a very simple thing actually. But see, the person who thought about it, he did proper research, he developed it. So the aluminium can, having the aluminium cover again with a slight ring, which you just pull and it opens nicely. We have not developed it, we have seen it, but just imagine what life would have been earlier when that kind of thing was not there. You have to take a knife, then slice it, some of that aluminium powder will fall in. It's a nuisance. So such a simple invention, but it made life very easy. So there is a patent on that. And these post-it paper, sticker pads that we use, there's a company called 3M, Minnesota Mining Corporation. It's a very big, I would say, monster in US. There is no area in which 3M is not engaged, and they also file patents like anyway. And they are the world leaders in adhesive technology. The minute they develop something there, you are sure that Indian companies here also will start working on it. So all this post-it, there was one researcher, scientist by name, some Spencer, something I remember. So since he was working on what is called as pressure-sensitive adhesives. That is, there is an adhesive, you just press it and then it sticks. So pressure-sensitive adhesive. He was struggling with that project in the lab. Then one day he found that one of the formulations that he had synthesized, it was tacky, meaning it stuck but it came off easily, but he could re-stick it again. Sometimes once you apply the adhesive and then it dries up, when you pull it out, the paper will tear and the adhesive will not stick again once. But he found this to be very funny. And then they thought about the application. See, first they had the material. The second part of it was the application. So they manufactured it in such a manner that it came on a paper, a small pad material, that's all paper that could be made into a pad. And then you have a post-it. You find, if you go to offices, you find it on all of the tables so that, for the day, if we forget anything, we immediately write and then throw it once it is done. Very simple invention, but it made life different. So that is what patents is all about. And since you have actually conceived the idea, you have got to develop it, you are trying to protect it and not let anybody copy. Otherwise, if something nice is in the market, immediately within 1 month there will be 101 competitors coming in. Of course, provided that product is making money. If it is not making money, there will be no competitors. The minute you see so many variations, that itself tells you that whoever put it in the market first has made a lot of money. So let's look at actually IP as an opportunity fund. In companies, actually what we do is we plan R&D for, let's say, next 5 years or next 10 years, looking at the way technology is moving. Not just technology, but I would even say the market forces, because there should be market acceptance. Otherwise, what is the use of doing research and spending so much money? So we might be looking at many projects initially. Some of them may be market oriented, some of them may be aligned with our own strengths, because should also have that kind of people who have the strengths, technical background and aptitude aligned to those technologies. So when we put everything, the first thing that we do is we investigate a broad spectrum of opportunities and identify which one is best suited for the company. How do we do it? Suppose I have technology A, B, C, D, E. The way I would do it today, which probably I did not do 25 years ago because there was no such knowledge, there was no availability also. Technology was not it hadn't progressed so much. There was no internet. Imagine we are all from a generation where we saw internet emerging only around 1985 or even 88, 90 around that time. I still remember a very simple computer cost not less than 70,000. 70,000 bare minimum features. Okay, and power supply used to be terrible. It used to fail, and then we had dial-up. Every 2 minutes it would go off. You have to dial again. It was like an autometer. Bills used to be very high. So we had no provision, but today everything is there. Just one click and you get everything. So when you are, let's say you are a PhD student. Let's not talk about company, and you are actually planning to do select some research project. Actually, what I would say is depending on your interest and your guide's interest, if you identify 4 or 5 areas, the next thing you should do is you should do a simple pattern search. Why pattern search? Because 80% of the information is in patterns. Only 20% is available in technical journals. If you actually read through a pattern, it will tell you things that you will never find in technical journal literature. I can guarantee you that. Because in prior art, actually we look at both patent literature and technical literature. But in technical literature for some technology, if we are able to, let's say, identify 10 publications, we will identify 500 patents that are talking about that, but different aspects in that technology. So, if you really want to get into something, it will definitely help you to read those patents and just, open an Excel sheet. The patent number, who the inventor is or who the assignee is, and then there is something called abstract will be there. In patents, if you go to any of these sites that serves, if you click on the patent, abstracts will be there. You read the abstract and then you read the claims. Claims are written in a little legal language, but still you can understand. Claims define boundary. Boundary meaning that this is where you should operate. If someone operates within that boundary, that person is infringing on your patent. And if you are stepping into somebody else's boundary, it's just like building a compound wall around your house. Okay? Why do you build that compound wall? So that people don't just stray into your area. Otherwise, you will have stray dogs, people trespassing your property. So like that, if it is your own intellectual property, you build the claim wall so that others don't enter into it. So once you identify the opportunities, that is here, the midstream. Once you identify, then what you do is, once you identify and you start work, that is the time, if you are in business, you might want to know what other people are doing much more detail. That is your own competitors. Because here there is also a concept called freedom to operate. Just because you have a patent, you cannot just go to the market. You may have a patent for your invention, but that invention will be a very small part. The other things will be something that is already there in the market. I'll give you a very simple example. This hit cylindrical container that you get. Earlier, it used to come without that tube. If you spray it, suppose there's a cockroach there and you want to spray it. It used to spread in all directions. After all, these are all insecticides, pesticides, which are also very harmful for the environment, for the health. So somebody conceived that you just put one small taper on the aluminium container and then just insert that, and then when you press it, it is actually very focused and very tiny bits of the taper probably fall on the insect and kill it. So first is you are saving so much of aerosol chemical. And then the second thing is you are not damaging the environment also. So it's a very simple concept. But suppose I want to take it to the market. I can file a patent. First of all, my invention is only that tiny extension and the idea of connecting that protrusion that will cause minimum damage to the environment. Why I am saying all this is you have to justify what your invention has achieved. So that is again minimization of wastage, then environmental safety, etc. etc. So, but I cannot just immediately next day start manufacturing a can like that because original can was not your idea. It was somebody else's idea. So tomorrow, if you were to just without checking who owned the patents on that jar, if you were to just go to the market and put that thing, then he is going to come after you because he is going to say part of it is my idea. And how come it has become your idea now? So that time again we have to do a patent. We have to find out who owns that patent, number one. Once you know that, first of all, if you are going to market that product in India, then are there Indian patents? Because unless that product is in India, that fellow cannot come after you and file an infringement. This is a very, very important rule. It's all geography specific. If you want to practice a technology in India, you have to have an Indian filing. And if you don't have an Indian patent, then you cannot. Or if let's say Samsung has put in a phone in India with some feature, if some local manufacturer wants to copy, first thing he has to do is he has to hire maybe a firm like us because it's not easy to search to that technical detail. Okay, so we will have to actually identify which are the patents that are having features or technology aspects similar to whatever this person is saying. Then we will actually again open an Excel sheet, say what are all the features that are there in Samsung's patent, then in this fellow's patent, how it is different, whether Samsung has an equivalent Indian patent. They might have filed in Korea and US, whether Samsung has filed an Indian patent. And on top of that, it is valid only if we are paying the maintenance fee. It's not enough if we just file a patent and sit back. We have to pay a maintenance fee every year until the end of the 20th year. If we, by chance, we forget, the onus is on us. The office is not going to write to us and say that, oh, it is due and please file and all that. Some amount for 1 or 2 years they will wait. You can always pay with penalty. But beyond a certain time, if you remember late, then the opportunity is lost. And then if it comes into what I call as the open domain, then anybody can copy. So once we do all those checks, then comes the commercialization part. That is, again, it all depends on the company. The FTO we will do when they enter the market. Or there are also companies which don't want any surprises because developing a technology is very expensive. You really have to sink millions of dollars or crores of rupees. So when they have what they think is an invention, they will commission us to do the prior art searches and also do the FTO around the same time so that they have at least a 50% confidence that they can enter the market and there is no blocking pattern for them. So I've already talked to you. So by screening, by screening itself, we will know how is the technology development. We will know which are the institutions that are working on it, so that we will, there's a concept called patent alert. I will talk to you about that. Then it also, will help you in new product development. When you have an invention, the novelty assessment. I think Dr. Ram will talk about mapping and visualization. So technical documents also falls under prior art, so we have to do that. Then linking patents with products, that's a very high end. I'll talk about that separately. And then of course patent filing. So we already talked about that. So why source patent information? I told you 80% is never disclosed or published elsewhere. If you are not looking at patent you are really missing on references. Then patent applications are often published earlier than academic papers. This is a very, very important thing. Earlier what used to happen was, at least when we were doing research, we used to be very excited when our papers used to be published in technical journals. So we used to run and submit the manuscript. But what happens is, in this concept of prior art, if we publish the paper first, then our own publication becomes prior art to our invention. Then we are disqualified and we cannot file that. Understand? So, in CSIR, etc., they learned this lesson the hard way. Earlier, there never used to be a gatekeeper. Any scientist who was very excited would file the patent, would submit the manuscript for the technical publication first. Then you would start writing the patent. And writing the patent, it takes some time. Many times, if you don't have the skill, you have to engage lawyers, you have to interact with them. It takes time. So what would happen was, if this got published first, and the examiner actually examiner during prosecution, they have access to all the world's best databases. Suppose they found the publication, then your own publication becomes a prior art for the patent, so it is disqualified. So today, if you see in companies and CSIR labs, we don't have the right to directly go and submit the publication, but there will be a gatekeeper, maybe the librarian, or they call them knowledge management division. So there, the managers, they receive the request from us first. So suppose you want to publish, you will go to him. He will first do the prior art. He will determine whether it qualifies for a patent application, or is it okay if there is prior art, then they will decide that it's okay for a technical journal submission. So there are controls, very strict controls, even in CSIR, because what happened was, when Professor Marshall took over, and there was a lot of excitement in very good technologies that got developed in, even among CSIR labs. It's not as if all CSIR labs are very good. NCL is excellent, IACT, CCNB, they are all very excellent. So those days I know of stories when people just published and they really lost very, very wonderful opportunities for licensing their technology. I've heard of stories where Japanese companies used to write to them asking for more details, and in all excitement, that the Japanese guy is asking us for more details, it seems they used to share. And those became technologies in Japan, and India has come. So after that, after learning all those lessons, they put very strict controls. So if you are filing a patent, file the patent first, and then only think about publishing it. Otherwise, it will destroy your own chances. It's a very simple concept, but people continue to make these mistakes. To know a competitor's patent portfolio, that is, if you are in competition, let's say Samsung, or LG, or Apple, or there are so many smartphone manufacturers who are coming. If you are in that business, you have a lot of competitors. From studying the competitor's patent portfolio, you would know what kind of new technologies they are working on. Because as soon as you conceive the idea and you have some positive result, you file the patent. So you know that if at all this guy is going to come with a product tomorrow, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are the most important, interesting technologies. So this smartphone may have this kind of features. You can actually anticipate. And then you know where certain companies are filing. So from the geographical location where they are filing, you can actually interpret that this guy's market interest is more in this area. For example, today Asia is a big market. So earlier nobody used to file so much in India, but today by default I would say India and China. Almost all patents do get filed here. To avoid infringement situations, again you must know prior art if you are in business, otherwise nobody is going to excuse you because you did something without knowing the implications. You are supposed to know, you are expected to know. So we have to be very, very careful. So again, what is prior art? So prior plus art. Anything that was there prior to filing the application, the existing knowledge. publicly known and could have contributed towards invention. So what is publicly known? Not necessary that it has to be documented. Maybe something, if somebody can actually say that it was there over the radio or on TV, even that becomes prior art. And then invention will be patentable only if it is differentiating from the prior art and it is not an obvious derivative. You know, some things are very obvious also to a layman. If A can happen, B also can happen. So the examiner, even if you file the patent, he will say that I am discounting this on account of obviousness. So there are three criteria: novelty, non-obviousness, and application. So we have to be very careful about obviousness because anybody skilled in the art, you know, if you are, let's say, suppose there is something that in the mechanical area, if Dr. Rao is called by the patent office and he says that, yeah, if A is there as a technical expert, I can definitely anticipate B, then it becomes obvious and therefore the patent will not be granted. So you have to be really novel. So we definitely have to identify the prior art in the particular context. So patent and non-patent, that is technical literature, can be even something that is said in a company announcement, not necessarily only in a technical journal publication, but anything that is announced. So general internet search for news items, articles, blogs, there's so much of chatter going on around every place. So identifying, consulting experts, physical search, yet to be digitized library. You'll be very surprised. I've never come across such a situation. About 2 years ago, one European patent attorney sent us a PhD thesis of a medical doctor. And that lady was a skin specialist. She was running a practice in Chennai. And she had done her PhD in Manipur. And he was desperate that we make a contact. So actually that also we had only found out. I don't know how we identified that PhD thesis. Maybe she had already published also. It was about 2-3 years ago. I don't really recall. But based on what we said, we actually got the entire thesis. And they were just going to put a product in the market. And they found that this PhD thesis would actually become a blog. Like FT voice, maybe that. I don't know the exact details because, see, this line of patent literature, we are supposed to maintain utmost confidentiality and secrecy. We are not supposed to tell anyone what. Because we work for a lot of big companies, consumer products area, electrical, electronics, food area. You will be surprised how much of work we do in the food area. So practically every domain we work. So, and we are supposed to keep our mouth shut. But I'm not giving you any technology details, so that's why I don't remember either now. So actually he was telling us, can you please make a contact with this doctor? And just when we did the search on the internet, and we found that this lady was actually running a very successful practice in Chennai, and she was a skin specialist. So what I'm saying is, you see to what extent people go and what care they take. He could have very well said that who is going to come after me? I mean, this doctor, I doubt if even doctors have that much knowledge and they go after people for infringement and all that. But the company in Europe which had hired the law firm had very categorically said that we want to talk to the doctor. Because even if that is her invention, they can still license it. You must be thinking, she's talking all these things. Where is the money going to come? Am I going to go to the market? But please remember, patents will really make you rich, not only through your own entry into the market. All you need to do is have a wonderful patent and just sit in an AC room. Somebody will call you and say, I really like the work that you have actually written there, whatever you have invented. And let's talk, I will license your patent. So licensing is a multi-billion-dollar business. Don't think that many times all the features that we see in even I'm again and again talking about smartphones because that is the most happening area today. So you don't know how many patents might have been actually licensed. All of them may not be owned by all these companies. They are all probably licensed. Sometimes even cross-licensing happens. two big companies. This fellow will, if there is a gap in the technology for this fellow, that gap is filled by a patent from another fellow and vice versa. They will actually cross-license it to each other. And everything is done under very strict secrecy, and nobody even comes to know about how many dollars, how many millions of dollars actually exchange hands. You know, we will find a lot of information on the net, but I bet it's very, very difficult to really find out who licensed each other's patent. That's very pricey information. Even today, you know, there are actually database providers who charge a lot, but what I have found is they also do all these searches. They collect information and then they put it properly in a readable manner. You know, it's all not scattered, provided in one place, and they charge a bomb. But actually what they have also lacks the pricing information. You will never know how much money is exchanged. So licensing is also another possibility. And physical search may yet to be digitized library. I've even heard requests like, you know, that we understand that this technology is highly developed in Japanese, but we are told that it's residing in a library which is not digitized. Do you have contacts in Japan? Can someone actually go there, find out? So, especially in the international area, people are very, very scared about prior art spoiling their business opportunities. So, prior art search or state of the art. Today, what is the technology update? These are different things that provide different kinds of information. Patentability assessment. So, if you are going to file a patent, what is the assessment? Have you looked at the prior art? Actually, have you compared? Let's say your own invention has aspects A, B, C. You pulled out some 10 or 15 documents, whether it is technical literature or patents. So some people may have only A, some may have B, some may have A plus B plus C. So you have to actually open a table, create a table, say aspect A, aspect B, aspect C, what is there in which patent or document, and then you have to write a conclusion. So in your opinion, in your judgment, whether it is a patentable invention or not. We talked about freedom to operate. So validity, even if you have a valid patent, if you are blocking someone's entry to the market, it is still a concept called invalidating the patent. So see, everything is a prior art search. Even the examiner does a prior art search during prosecution. But still, like you know, in the previous slide we talked about undigitized, yet to be digitized libraries. Still there may be something sitting there out in the open, which somebody may pull up at some point of time and say, look, the patent office granted this patent wrongly, so this should be invalidated. So we do conduct a lot of invalidity searches, and we have helped our clients actually destroy prior art. Evidence of use, you know, these are all quite advanced, and I don't think we have time. But again, you know, the mechanical engineering department here, even there's something called design registrations, design patents. Patents, their life is only 10 years, but if you are designing something very beautiful, only for the appearance, not for the utility. Because again, there are two kinds of patents, utility patents, design patents. If you have something, some shape or some design on this that is very, very beautiful, you can still file a patent, protect it, and license it. You know, if it has an aesthetic appeal, there will be people to buy in the market. So somebody will buy the license, and he will start manufacturing. And then patent watch. So there's this concept called patent alert or patent watch, where constantly we also monitor. We are doing research about what are the new things that are happening on patent. So I think this is all a little advanced. I won't go into that. But I know this problem solution and citation I will talk about. See, any patent actually when we actually do make an invention, what is it actually? There is a problem that needs to be addressed, and your invention is actually providing a solution for that problem. So in the background section, when we start drafting the patent, first we have to write what was prior art, and then we have to say, when we are writing prior art, okay, you know, this problem was this was the technology in this particular patent, yet there is a problem with this. Then some other inventor came, he addressed that problem, but when you address one problem, some other problem also crops up. That is is how actually technology progresses. So just by this problem solution analysis, we can actually identify which were the problems that were existed prior to our invention. If not anything, even in your research project, you should actually do this. What were the various problems? What were the various solutions? So you might actually be able to identify a problem that nobody has addressed. Alternately, one problem may have one solution or one problem may have multiple solutions. So you might still be able to identify some solution that you would provide to identify the problem, to address the problem. And that solution that you develop may be something that is different from what others have provided.
Otherwise, we are not professional speakers. So, basically, we are talking about research. Research, what is this research? Again, search about? No. The is added to make you understand search and search and search. First search may not give you what you want. Then do again another search. Even in whatever you are searching, search again. Repeated search in the same data or get extra data, search again, search so on until you get the solution you want. So that's why this research is defined that way. Many people know about it. But one unfortunate thing is a kid in US studying maybe 3rd class or 4th class. My grandsons are there. If I ask him, what are you doing? I am researching on cars. He says, research. This research word has been brought down to school level. Unfortunately, so it has been brought down to such a school. It's not good. But at the same time, research also is brought down to that level. In India, unfortunately, let me, you should excuse me, I am a very frank and brutal critic of research. Brutal critic. What is going on? If I don't like, I will openly talk. I am not a laukyam known fellow. I am not a professional saying something in indirectly. Directly I speak and I enjoy doing it. See, international journals have 100 international journals have. All are international. International journal is so and so, international journal is so and so. Most of them are paid journals. Paid. Initially you will say, no payment, but once you submit, you will say, come back and say, within 1 week you want to get published, or within 2 days you want to get it. The sooner it is, the more money you get. And you are all thinking that somehow, guide is pressurizing me, I should get it published somewhere. So I cannot wait. Somewhere you will pay published 2,500 rupees. He will claim 2.91 is the impact factor. As though this fellow is a fellow who can decide what is the impact factor. Don't ever believe in stories. All that is not correct. That's just bullshit. First. And once you get a journal publication like that, you are equal to a person who is sighted in a red light area in Mumbai. If you are sighted in red light area in Mumbai, many people will not like to be associated with you. No, don't be around her. Don't be around him. Such is the bad impression you will carry in case somebody like me has shown, sir, I published my paper in this country. Look at that fellow with no respect, with a lot of negative. Oh, this fellow is such a cheap fellow. I think many of you are stunned. You don't like my statement, that is true. Any paper which is not reviewed, no prior check, no incremental improvement is there or not is checked, get published within a week. What is he doing? He is just fooling everybody in the world. And it comes when you Google check, it comes on the first place.
please, my request to all of you in entomology, don't associate yourself with any such publication. It is not of any use. You lose only your 2,500 rupees in respect from a personal item. Please don't unnecessarily waste your money and publish it. Wait. Same paper. Send it to a free journal. No charges. A pre-review journal. Wait for 3 months, 4 months. If you get over, make modifications, do this, do that, do that. Worth it. If it gets published at 6 months also, worth it. So having said that, I have moved to whatever I am trying to say. You all agree with me or any questions on this? You all agree with me whatever I said?
Yes.
Okay, if you agree, let us move. So I am just showing you a paper which got published very recently in a journal called International Journal of Mechanical Engineering and Automation. Free journal. It's in USA. And this was a paper on finite element analysis. You might have heard in mechanical engineering, a method called finite element analysis. Then free flexural vibrations of rotor bearing system with permanent magnetic bearings. That is the technical area. And what we did here is, you will find in the first few pages itself a review of patents. All the about 20-25 patents are collected in this area, and then patent review is done in the initial stage. First introduction is review of literature of patents, review of patents, and all the patents in that area are reviewed, and ultimately found a new incremental improvement in that area, and did the design of this rotor system, and then analyze the basic on finite element method, MATLAB program is written, and solutions are operating on the natural frequencies of this rotor bearing. A rotor bearing, two bearings are there on either side, and it's a electromagnetic, permanent magnets are there, and rotor is having permanent magnets. So electromagnetic rotor bearing system. Natural frequencies are obtained using the finite element method. Very simple activity, but the design is based on prior search. Prior art here, you may understand what is the prior art. We say review of literature, but not prior art. Patents, unfortunately, art they say. Art means technical work. Don't think it is an art. BA. It is not a BSc, BA, something like that. Art means technology also. A generalized word for technology also. So prior art means prior literature. So prior literature should be seen both patents as well as technical value. You will find in the reference listed here both patents as well as patents. So I am showing this paper is, this is how I am directing my students. I am writing papers. Unless and until I do patent search and patent review and then literature review, together only my project will be started. I will find out what is to be done, what is not done after review of patents as well as non-patent patents like published papers. So this should be the way, in my opinion. Then only we will have a comprehensive outlook about the entire field that you are looking at. As I explained earlier, as well as Madam, 80% of the technical data is in patents. You are only searching 20% data available in technical published papers. Not only that, explanation about it, 8 pages technical paper is not possible. So patent description will be enormous, very detailed. I'll try to show one or two patents, but I think time is not going to be sufficient. So I'll postpone to a later date. We have another session only on how to read a book, understand, and find out what is new there. That itself is a fully 1.5 hour technical lecture is necessary. I will post right now, not going to do that. But have a look at how the review of both patents and literature will be done. And I am going to talk about so-called patent landscape. No. So patent landscape. See this word patent landscaping, I would like to just explain, then we go ahead and see what is meant by landscaping. You know aerial view? Whenever there is a flood, too many rains, or KCR or somebody will visit the place, they have an aerial view. Or what? Getting a overall picture of how much area is inundated, how much is affected, to get a total picture. Otherwise he has to move on the road, he can't see all these things. So aerial view is what we call it as a landscape. Patent landscape means an entire view, 3D view of patents. What is 3D view? Take for example, I have the number of patents filed in a year. So year, number of patents. Then what company? Is it Samsung or some company? So 3 parameters are there for me. Company, year of filing, and number of patents filed by that company in that year. How can I plot all these three together? So there are methods of plotting this type of 3-dimensional plots, which we call it as a landscape. 3-dimensional figure which shows vertical some parameter, horizontal one side one parameter, another side another parameter. So this type of data, we will collect data, but we will project this data, which is called visualization. How to visualize? I suppose put tables, number of tables I keep. Why graphs are necessary? Tables are enough, no? Why graphs are necessary? Graphs will give you a trend analysis. Is it drooping down or going all the time up? Or where is it drooping down and again going up? So this is called trend. Trend analysis, if I want, I should put a graph. 2-dimensional graph. One on the vertical, one on the horizontal. But if I want a landscape, I should have a 3-dimensional graph. And then only I can visualize at a time which company is having higher patents than the other. You understood what is patent now? So this is to be created. So patent search is one thing, first step. In patent search, I told you Google patents, patents.google. Go there, I try to find out the website. I'll show one or two. Also, I'll open up patents and show you one or two patents, and we will just explain what are the various things in a patent document. The patent document organization is fixed. Either I file or you file or anybody files, the contents are fixed. This is where first things title, then inventors list, assignee names, prior art, then abstract. All these are fixed. I show you. So how to read a patent, how to understand a patent, and how to ultimately come out with a feeling that yes, this patent is covering this invention. There is what is known as inventive step. Please note. I will explain what is meant by the inventive step. So when you read a patent,
all the contents will be there. But after everything is read, maybe 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages, ultimately you are asked, tell me what is the invention here. Inventive step, tell me. Don't know. Very difficult to know what exactly is the inventive step. There lies the experience. You have to have a habit of reading as many patents as possible. Over a period of time only you will develop capability to identify, oh, this is the new. All this is hidden. As Madam told, the specification also is written in such a way that the words used are not the common words used. I have a pail. I said, you know pail? Pail means if I have some gravel to pick it up, there is a metal piece we use and then lift it up, lift the gravel up. It is called pail in English, right? Pail. He will not use pail in that pail. He will write device to lift gravel. It's always in the entire patent. He will only use that word device to lift gravel. He will not use pail at all. So when you are searching, you will use pail and try to search for patents. That patent won't come. So patent drafting is by itself a great art. They will see that when you are searching for that patent for infringement or for prior art, that patent won't come in the search because it will not have any common words, well-known words in that area, and it's so written that everything is there, but your word is not commonly used word for search. Is it not dangerous? Suppose you are searching, you want to file a patent. That patent did not come with your search. Later on, what happens? You will file. You got granted. This fellow will go to court saying that he is infringing on my patent. Cancel that patent. So all the effort, money you spend, everything goes waste. If they find that this patent technology is already existing, they will simply revoke your patent. It's called revoking. Right? Patent office will say this patent is revoked in view of the evidence submitted by so and so. So revoking is translated from that entire patent. So you understand what I am saying? Language. And a technical document like patent specification is in English only. In English only. But we know English. But the English that fellow writes there is something much different from, which we cannot call it not English, but it is something different from what we usually see. Isn't it? So that's very interesting. So some words they will invent, in fact, which are not there in the vocabulary. Dictionary also you will not find. They will create new words in such a way that the entire specification will be in such a way it explains. It brings out the invention, but will not be caught in the search. Great experiment. Tomorrow somebody will make a mistake, he will invent the same thing, file a patent, and tomorrow I will catch him, put an infringement suit, get 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs from him as a penalty. Infringement of a patented technology invokes what is known as fine. Court will fine. So that fine can be anything. It depends on how much loss that company has got because of your patent or your product that you have put it in the market. So the price, no sir, it won't be more than 6 lakhs. I think 60 lakhs you can defamation cases are like that. You know defamation case? So and so abused me in public. So I am going to court $60 billion. Who knows? That is what I claim. So infringement is a problem. So infringement of a patent brings a fine, which you may be capable of paying or you may not be capable of paying. But infringement of a copyright puts you in jail. Copyright infringement will call for immediately arrest of you and put it into you in bail until you are released on bail. It's much more worse, isn't it? Copyright infringement is more worse compared to patent infringement. Here I would like to tell you a story so that you will appreciate what is this so-called infringement. Copy pasting we do, no? We mostly, as she said, even BHL. I worked in BHL for 26 years, research and development. We develop some new products, go to the particular unit and request them to utilize our design, new designs, new inventions. They will say yes, but nobody makes it. In India, almost all, she told about CSR, not only CSR, almost all industrial R&Ds, they only copy, create a product for the sake of learning. They call it development. R&D, research and development. R is really to be removed, only development. I have copied an idea, I have got it designed, drawings, everything. I am only developing on it. What is the development? Catch what the potential industry fellow who can make it. Right? Give that responsibility to him. Always inspect, get it done properly, and utilize in my machine. Most of it is copyright technology, sir. Or sometimes if they are to legal, they will buy that technology. 20 crores, 30 crores, BHL paid for getting a technology on whatever they make in this. 110 megawatt steam turbines they make in Haridwar. All these things, technology was bought by BHL. Bought means that drawings, the making, even production drawings, everything they will give you for a price. But the steam turbines, it is 200 crores paid by BHL to buy that technology. So all this bought technology includes patents filed by the owners, got them granted. Another interesting thing you should know is in India, 90% of all the international patents filed in US and other countries are filed by those companies in India also. Invariably, 90% of all those foreign companies file their patents in India. What are the 10%? Our so-called small industrial fellows file 10% patents. 90% are foreign patents. Indian patents are not even up to 10%. Because we don't believe in creativity. We may say idea sells the so-called idea. Idea you have, you can make money. Okay, so a lot of ideas we have, but we won't make money. Why? Because we don't think differently. Okay, I bring a so-called creativity language. Think differently, out of the box. These words are also became common. Everybody uses them without really meaning what they are. So here, a lazy fellow will be there, sitting, sleeping all the time. But that fellow is an excellent fellow, creating something new. Continuously somebody is running. From morning till evening you will find him all moving all around the campus. Sir, you hard worker, sir. Useless fellow. He can't do it. He can't think. He can't think. He can't come out with a new idea. He will only repeat whatever somebody else has told. Because we are all by-hearters and spitters. And we enjoy our kid reciting poems from the old textbook scriptures. But we will never allow them to write a single word on their own. Understand what I am saying? That's who we are. Our blood is like that, our culture is like that. And you will listen to me and go away. Nothing can be done. This fellow talks like this only. If you take me seriously, do something for your kids. Do something for your students who are sitting in your class. Let them write in their own words. Let them write notes. Not only whatever is written in the notes board or the class blackboard. But let them write their notes. Insist on them. If they don't write notes, let them not in the class. To put pressure on them. Because I'll just give you one example. I was in Canada, University of Ottawa, as a degree person, during 86 to 88. I have two sons who studied in our schools here, central school. Central schools are expected to be better than other schools, isn't it? So these two kids are from central school, 5th and 6th class. They are also other. My wife was there. So I have put them in one school, York Street School. York Street School in University of Ottawa. Then within 2 weeks, I got a call from English madam from the school. She said, oh, I was very much worried. Then she said, your kids are doing excellent. First statement to make me feel happy. Second statement is, however, I don't know, Dr. Rao. Whenever I give them a project, they duly go to the library, pick up the encyclopedia, copy paste relevant material, write down, and then give it to me. Is it what happens in India? That's the question she asked. Tell me, what should I answer? I immediately told madam, I understand what you are saying. Give me 1 week, 10 days time. I will turn my kids to a different school. And I did it. 2 weeks I sat with them. I told this copy pasting, highlighting, splitting will not do here. And you have to understand the concept, write in your own words, then only you will pass. And they could do it. Maybe 2 days we were there. My wife did not like that place, so we came back. But otherwise, I would have, become an immigrant in Canada. So what I am trying to say is, that time in 86, that was it. Unfortunately, here 2 things are happening. India is great for memorizing. Here we insist and we encourage memorizing. Fine. US encourages conceptual understanding and writing in your own words. But these two are necessary. Unfortunately, US doesn't insist on memorization. So they think 2 into 3, how much? You will take out the calculator and 2 into 3, 6. You will not remember. Ekal man chaduvunna. Appu chepparu. Batti kodde eppudu cheppani chepparu. But they don't know that. So calculator is there. Use the instrument, not necessary to memorize. So they don't memorize. We don't understand the concept right in our routine. Both are useless fellows. That's why there is an exam called PISA. Not capital, all capital. PISA. It is an international exam for the 10th class students of all about 151 countries are members of this. Every year there will be an exam, PISA exam. In the PISA exam, only government school students have to participate. No private school student will be allowed. Why? It is to measure what kind of quality is there in the government schools in each country. So with a lot of difficulty, India also joined that stream and had entered into competition. US is already there. About 151 countries, Japan, China, you name it, almost all the countries are there. I will tell you the latest result. Our country stands at 187 in the rank. No. It is not 210. 210 countries are there, and our country is 187. And US 152. No good. Not much better than us. And about 8 professors from US, they were deputed to all these Japan, China and other countries and asked them to send a report. Within 6 months, give a report why these professors. Japan is the first one. Number 1 is the PISA for last 20 years. Why? China is also number 2. So why China and Japan, both those 2 countries, why are they in the first 2? Thanks, whereas US and India is so low. The reason is Japanese and Chinese insist on memorization and conceptualization, writing in their own sentences. And China also does it. But India, only memorization, by heart and speak. US, only conceptual understanding, after type questions, writing in your own sentence, that's all the drill they do. And they don't insist on memorization. Unfortunately, we require both of them. So, can you make this message reach your students? Both are necessary. By hearting and speaking is of no use. Writing in your own sentences is absolutely necessary. Okay, now, here I will bring copyright issue. What is copyright? Many people think if I publish a paper in journal, I have a copyright on the technology that I have reviewed. Can you have a small fan? Madam, I'm sorry. You have emotion, too much of passion towards the subject. I don't know. Right? See, copyright violation or copyright, what does it mean? No, sir, I did this PhD thesis and I have published this paper in International Journal of Mechanical Sciences. So, and all the technology is revealed in that paper. How the device is made, what material is used, how the device is tested, and everything is revealed in that paper. And I got my copyright. And this technology nobody else can use. Copyright, my friend Pawan is here, he will explain. Copyright is only for the words and sentences you have used in that paper, my dear. Not about the subject inside. Technical part of it is not covered by copyright. Unfortunately, devices, you have given pictures, you have given charts, you have given scheme, all that you are opening up without protection. That part, nobody will give you any credit. Only words you are using. When you are doing plagiarism check for a thesis, what is checked is only words, not the technology part. You got my point? So, my dear, don't think I got a copyright, so technology is mine. No. So, how to make technology also mine? The technological part, file a patent. Only patent can protect the technology. In the patent, what is protected is not the language. What is protected is whatever drawings you have made, technical things that you have explained, exposed in that. All that is protected. And copyright protects only the word. So, if you are writing a manual for a software manual you copyright. Because software manual if you copyright, you are not going to lose anything. Technology is not there. Only commands are explained how to use this and that. Whereas software part, software patenting is there. It's not there in India. Right now, software patents. So a methodology or a scheme or a logic, a mathematical speaking, these things are protected by means of a so-called software patent. That means you have got a logic. You have written a MATLAB program. That MATLAB program follows a algorithm. You have got an algorithm. And you know algorithms cannot be really patented. Mathematics cannot be patented. Science by itself cannot be patented. But a device can be patented. Ultimate utility should be there. Luckily today, software, Microsoft, for that matter, your Windows software is very costly. You have to pay a lot of money, royalty every year. And whatever he has built in Windows consists of about 2 lakhs patents filed by Microsoft. And all those patents are granted in US. Unfortunately in India, we don't believe in creativity. So we say no such patent will be set in India. So how to file such patents? You say, I have a laptop, so and so laptop definition. On this I have installed this fantastic program, and this is what. So together with the device, yes. So a different way of filing a software patent is possible, but today connected to a device. Yes, there. So software patenting includes coding, algorithm, maybe some new algorithm, and then ultimately having some printouts, graphs or whatever it is. You know the software. So software patents are possible. Somebody is having a new mathematical algorithm, written a software program, very useful because almost all of them are coming to smartphone. Everything that you are making app, what is an app after all? It is a bunch of code statements in some software. So almost all the technologies available, apps available here are all patented. All patented. So you understand what I am saying? So whatever little you are doing, don't lose it. Because everybody is there very easy. Copying is easier than doing something new. Doing something new. Many times you think that when doing something new we cannot do. We are mostly copiers. Agreed. But unfortunately or fortunately, God has given a great copy. 1 lakh times more capable than a supercomputer is in your memory. Forget about it. Really, if you understand, 1 lakh times the supercomputer memory is there with you. You are not using it. And you are all born robots. 9 months when you come out of your mother's womb, you are a flexible robot. Nowhere available in the world. Japan also go, you won't find a robot like growing throughout the life. Is a battery. Everybody's battery is unique. Maybe 20 years or 200 years. The battery is unique. It cannot be recharged. No rechargeability. Battery with the birth, by birth. And the battery you don't know what it is like. Suddenly it collapses and you are gone. This much of why I am trying to say is you forget about this and self-deciding, self-propelling, you move on your own, nobody moves. Self-healing, many times you don't need to take any medicine. Any disease you get, just 10 days, don't take unnecessary food, this, that, you stop and try to diet, you are back to normal. Self-healing, this much of capability is there in us and we forget. And Venkatesh in one movie says, do you use your brain? Do you use your brain? He says, not very much. It is there. So that energy is saved. Unfortunately, no energy saving, no recharging possible. So what type of instrument? God has God of nature, whatever it is, it has given you and we are not using. Not using, unfortunately. Our memory is very high. Almost all this triple, nothing before the memory we have. 20 years back story also you can narrate so clearly, so descriptively, as though it happened yesterday. That is a capability of memory. I am saying all these things, lot of creativity is there in us. We don't look at it. We don't think, we don't believe that we have. Those fellows who believe that they have a lot of capability, they will bring it out. One more thing. Having said so much, I will tell you one more very interesting. I give you one paragraph from any book and ask you to rewrite in your own words. Each one writes in their own way. You may think that the same paragraph, no? So she also might have written the same way as I have written. He also might have written the same way as I have written. You may think so. Not true. Each fellow's sentence is unique. You try it. If at all you don't have belief in me, try it out and see. copy paste it in the Google, nowhere you will find the sentence you have created yourself. Chitram, is it not very unique and interesting? That is the power you have. Creative capability we have. What matter? So much of creative capability we have. But unfortunately, we don't use it, we don't recognize it, and we think that anybody can write the same way. Not true, sir. Some people's English is unique. You read it, number of times you have to read. So beautiful, so interesting. The word construction is unique. That's where writers score. Poets, writers, they score high. We repeat again and again. Wherever time permits, we quote those words only. Because they are unique. If you are also having the same capability, not only the poet, but you think, because you are not having, you think you are not having, so you are not having. What you think is what you are. I don't need to tell you. What you think is what you are. And since you don't think that you are capable of writing something new, you are not doing it. So having said this, please take my words seriously. Copyright violations, they are eye-hearting and spitting. That fellow has no right to copy by heart and write. He should write in his own words. Then only I will give marks, otherwise I will give a 0. This is insisted earlier in every school when I was studying. I was given left and right if I don't write in my own words. But later on what happened in the high school, second class, textbook will be there. Behind every lesson, there will be some questions. All those question answers are bracketed in the text itself. And the teacher doesn't know if you write in your own words. So she will insist, by heart and split. So you by heart and split. Unfortunately, if you write in your own words, she doesn't know whether it is a correct answer or not. She can't find out. Because she will not use marks. What do you do? Whenever I suggest some students to do that, they say, I won't get good marks, sir. If I write only what is there, ana karma. They won't there, ana karma. Please take me seriously. Whatever I have in my mind, it's not with any vengeance, it's not with any negative outlook. I am trying to pour out what worries I have. Take me seriously, and this can be changed by you. You people, if you think you have a lot of power in yourself, you can redirect your own students, you can command. A lot of power is there in you. Please try to do something and let us change this organization in a slightly different way so that who comes out is having some capability to frame his own sentences, maybe for a paragraph, one page. Good enough. Copyright violation is understood now? Sir? So if you are using somebody's words, somebody's sentence, as it is in your paper, you are done with big mistake, sin. And not a small sin. In US, they will throw you out. If you write a paper or a thesis, copying, pasting from various papers, you will be thrown out of the school. It's a crime. Whereas here, we encourage, do it. Very nice. It is something easy. What? He doesn't remember after the exam is over. Ask him, how did you write? Just wrote like that. You ask him answer, what did he write? Doesn't know, because it's only transfers here, from here to there. Nothing is kept later on. Clean. So, my dear friends, please take this seriously. This is a copyright violation. And copy pasting is correct, okay, as far as cited patent art is concerned. Because mostly in cited patent art, you create a Excel sheet, copy paste perfectly from the patent document, patent number, assignees names, inventors names, abstract, then claims. Simply copy paste it to the spreadsheet and make it so that one time spreadsheet I can see everything. It is useful for a customer. In fact, what they are serving is useful for a customer. what they do with this, let me share with you. See, they prepare Excel sheet where all the patents they have collected, downloaded, all the data, number, inventors, abstract, claims, everything they have copy pasted into the Excel sheet. This Excel sheets may be 10, 20, whatever it is, this goes to the customer. And the customer, boardroom, they all managers will sit. And this will be opened in the boardroom. And they see the patent claims and abstract and oh, it's already done. And we are working on this project for last 3 months or 8 months. It's already done. So if that is the decision, they will say, no, we should either change the scope of the work, modify the path, or close the project. No point in continuing a project where always work is done. It's weekly report they say. From Sci-Tech Patent a weekly report. It's called weekly alert. Patent alert goes every week. And every week in the boardroom, like our Wednesday board meeting, they will show all this data on all various projects. And they will take a decision with regards to funding a research project. Don't you think useful? So copy pasting is useful to that extent. To that extent, copy pasting is useful, but not beyond. Copy pasting is
because there's a lot of students. We are not teaching them the ability to think on their own because of standardizing business. So that actually causes a lot of problems when they go to work at the company. You have to think, you have to take some decisions. Decision making is also required, small, medium, big, depending on the law and the situation. Because of that inability to think and come to some conclusion, some judgment, they are not excelling although their academic qualifications are good.
the academic is only by JNTU giving 40 marks extra than what they have got. In their final exam, they get 30 marks. Listen to me. They get 30 marks only out of 70. And then moderation board is there, very kind, adds 30 marks or 40 marks to boost their pass percentage. And then makes them come out and, I got 70%. Useless fellow, 30 marks only. 30 marks only, working. Very few people are good, madam. So, unfortunately, JNT is creating a feeling that very good at academic. No, they are not at all. Now they stopped this moderation board, removed. No moderation at all. If we get 30, the 31 is shown in the marks list. Really recent. Sorry, if I am trespassing onto areas where I should not. Please excuse me. But truth is this. So, what to do is your job. For all teachers, in your own way, you can drill your students, control them, make them write. I only request you, make them write notes. Absolute necessity. Okay, I will come back here. She said, no thinking process. Why? See, they are sitting in the class. Nice. They are listening to Quran. You are doing something on the board. You are teaching Puranam, Mahapuranam in the temple. Listen and go. Nothing gets into the memory. Enjoy it only to the extent of 50 minutes. Later to that, nothing remains. Unfortunately, memory is a fleeting horse. Running horse. It won't stay at any place. That's why we are made to write some notes. Note taking is a time when you are putting a rope around a small peg. You have a peg and a rope. The pegging is the writing notes. This fellow cannot have too much of liberty to think about what is happening in Koti or Hyderabad or Samasima. No time. He has to write. If you are not writing the notes, teacher will come and know what are you doing. So you can somehow see that the fellow mental makeup, this one is concentrated on whatever you are speaking. If there is no concentration, if there is no proper listening, there is a question of retaining. And this writing notes notes also, not just what is there in the notice board or the blackboard. Copious running notes. Have you heard of this word? Running notes, right now. Running notes means, you see what I am doing now. I am not showing any slide. If I only show slides, you will write all slide indicators, isn't it? That's all. Nothing will get into your. And I told you, in the beginning, it's not a routine out of the box. I will have a slide, so many slides are there, but I am not following any slides and talking extempore. Why? It's a creative activity. Extempore talk, bringing issues, talking about it, making it understood by you, is a creative activity. I see all your faces. Whether something is going wrong or not, I can understand. If you people put your face like this and fold your eyes, what is this fellow talking? I understand, I shift my topic, make it in a different. So, creativity, you understood what is creativity? You understood that it is there in everybody? Every one of you have. No sir, I am not very creative. You are talking to yourself like that, you can never be creative. Talk to yourself, I am highly creative. I am telling you, inner conscience has more strength than anything else. That's why we say, you can do it. If I say, you will do it. One movie is there, I don't remember the name. Gentleman and something else. One movie is there. In that, the military is selection process. One lady is also there, along with the men. All are given different, jumping up, walk, long distance, running. These things are there. This lady, all the things she has done, at one point she is unable to climb some walk. All the fellows who are there in the group, they say, you can do it, you can do it. 2 or 3 times they say, she jumps. Where from that capability came? Tell me, it's there inside. Because everybody is telling you can do it, she did it. Another beautiful example is about Anjaneya. Anjaneya has to jump over the sea, Sri Lanka, go to Sri Lanka. He said, I am not a capable fellow, I cannot jump. What did the other people do? You can do it, you can do it. They did a japa, saying that you can do it. The fellow became bigger and bigger and bigger. And he jumped. It's an example of our soul, our inner capability. Pampering is to some extent good, but too much of pampering is of no use. So, my dear friends, what I try to do till now is make you understand that creativity is in you, you can do it, and patent idea. It comes out of creative thinking. What is creative thinking is out of the box. Whatever you are seeing is knowledge. You have seen a lot of papers, a lot of patents, you understood what is done to you. Then what to do? I am telling you my experience. No researcher got any new idea suddenly. He has a problem with his sleep. Half sleep only, he gets up, suddenly he gets an idea. So somewhere in the middle of the sleep, at 3 o'clock, he gets up and gets an idea. And he then writes the idea. You are in toilet, you get an idea. No place is fixed. I am sitting all the time to find out some new. Nothing happens. When you are walking on the road or eating something, palav, you get an idea. A person like me, what I do? I stop eating there, immediately take a paper and write. Ideas don't come in a sequence. New ideas won't come in sequence at all. Now, brain is capable of throwing up new ideas. But you have to make it. You can ask. You have to trouble it. You have to say, without a new idea, I cannot sleep. You should tell your brain. And it will throw up us, right? Are we doing that? No sleep. Until and unless I solve this problem. You pressurize your mind, it will come out with an idea. Maybe immediate, not immediately. 2 days later, somewhere you are standing in a queue or somewhere in the bus stand, you get the idea. Train comes out and tells you. You have to catch the train. This is what happens today. If at all a good researcher is there, what? You will agree. No ideas come in a sequence, passive, a randomly. What is happening until that time is, you have given a task to the brain, very seriously, threatening. If you don't come out with a solution, I will not be with you. You threaten. It will work. Suddenly, when you are asleep, 2 o'clock you get up and you got the light. So that is how mind works. Unfortunately. No, sir, I am getting headache. Don't trouble me. Unless and until you get headache, you will not be coming out with any solution. Headache is a part of solution, my dear. Okay, friends. I think about 5 more minutes are there. And already hungry. I am more hungry than you. But any questions you have? I think I have made quite a lot of things clear to you. Whatever is there behind us, like a patent is an innovation. Something new. Something new, if you don't understand, you can't really do any research. Ultimately, end of the day, research means coming out with something new. How is that possible? So first thing you should know is what is done till now. And that should be thoroughly understood. Thoroughly. How you may ask me? Google, I said, sir, how many pages you go? 2 pages, that's it. Your what you are looking for is the 30th page of Google search. Are you going to 30th page? I go to 30th page. I go to 30th page. Because my whatever I am looking for is there. I will miss it if I don't go. None of you people go to more than 2nd page. That's it. Nothing will come like that. You see the number of pages at the bottom. When you have given some keywords, you find that it is 74,620 records. 74,000 we cannot see. Please go up to some extent, so that you will find almost exhaust whatever is relevant. And one more thing, when you go to a tota, see, you have to pick some fruits. Will you select every fruit and this is good, then only you pluck? You pluck every damn thing. First of all, put them in a basket. All sorts of things. Maybe partly crooked, partly bad. Whatever it is, all collect. Put it in a mat, on a mat. Then go on select. Same way, when you are searching, don't see that. Collect it if it is relevant. No, not necessarily. No, it is not exactly relevant. Not exactly relevant. Title is not going to give you any idea. Abstract reading also is not going to give you any idea. Until and unless you see the full patent specification or full paper, you will not know what is there. So, my dear friends, don't take judgments while you are pick. Correct. Then segregate. Even one more thing they say in patent search, don't throw anything out. Whatever you think is not necessary right now, put a folder and say, to be seen later. Don't throw it out. God knows tomorrow you may find a necessity to see that. Yeah, madam? You never allowed me to throw any patent out. Whatever search, segregate. Very useful. Useful. Should read later on. Very complex. You segregate. And then, whatever is not right now relevant in your opinion, at this point of time, put them in a folder and then say to be seen later. This is how one should do. But many people see everything, they read, then reject it. Don't do that. Never one should do such a mistake. It's a mistake. Because you will find ultimately everything you are reading, you are not going beyond 10 or 20, you stop there. And what you are really looking for is that 10th page. Google, they never promise you that it will give you what you want in the first page or 2nd page. Is there any promise like that from Google? Okay, friends. Thanks a lot for your patient hearing. And thank you very much. We will have another session. If you think that this is useful, there are so many other cases to be shared with you. Very interesting cases right now. Polaroid. Huh? Fine for making this mistake in future. And the company has to pull down, ask all the customers to return back all those things that they have sold. Very sad story. Ultimately, for about 10 years they are closed. Product is closed for 10 years because so much of money they had to pay.
See, sir, I give another simple example. 2-3 years ago, we did some study for some Asian university. They wanted us to prepare one research report on cameras. So that time when we looked at patterns, we did know patterns, non-patterns, technical business. What we found was that there was an indication that everybody was working on integrating cameras in their mobile phones. Almost everybody, and they were talking about increasing the pixels, front, back, there's so many novelties. So in that report, actually we said that we didn't find many patterns from traditional camera companies, but these mobile companies, they're either developing on their own, or even collaborations you can find from patterns. If two parties are working, camera company collaborating with a smartphone. Some based on news and all that we actually wrote in our report that it is very interesting to find that smartphone manufacturers are integrating more and more high-end cameras in their phone. And today, if you see who is buying camera, we are buying mobile phones for cameras. So that is why I said that thinking little bit, not great. All data is there in front of you. You only have to join the dots.
Put your
You can
brain.
also predict actually technology.
Put your brain to pressure. And don't listen to these so-called psychologists. They say tension. Our kids are committing suicide. Hey, how many people are committing suicide? 120 crore people. How many are committing suicide? 1 or 2. They make it a big issue and doesn't make you sleep. I also lose sleep once I find somebody committing suicide. As those, it's all because of us they are committed suicide. Nonsense. So my dear friends, I think you enjoyed the session. I also enjoyed while sweating. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for all the knowledge you have shared with us, all the faculty members here today. May I now request our director, sir, to speak a little about today's workshop session.
Respected Madam Uma Parameshwaran, CEO of SciTech Company, Professor Ramesh Rao, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, friends, good afternoon to you all. In fact, the topic is very interesting and very useful to all of us. I think all of us are not aware of, except a few, not aware of what is this patenting. Madam has given a lot of information about the importance of this patent art and patent laws, and Kameshwar sir also has given how to be creative, and we all need to be creative. But I feel this session is not sufficient to understand at least the basics of even this patent subject. But now, at least we understand the importance of these patents. So now a lot of information is available in Google. Already sir has given you the address of this information. Please search the Google, try to get the information and go through. Because we should be creative. everything cannot be shown and everything can't be taught here. Because you are all learned people, at least we must start creativity at this point of view. Because anyway, we are unable to make our students to be creative because of the kind of rote learning that we have adopted in our academics. Though many speakers, many academicians, many people insist us to make the children to think, as Sir said, to put the pressure so that thoughts will come out. Otherwise, mind will not work. Like I used to tell you, whenever we want to be fit physically, we have to do exercise. Similarly, mind also be active only when it is when mind is made active, which is possible only if you give some exercise to the mind. So if mind starts thinking, probably you may get a lot of thoughts. Some of thoughts may become ideas. Some of the ideas may go into production, and finally, it will give us some solution for the problems that we are, questioning for. So, since we are teachers, we have very important weapon that we can go to the class and we can bring awareness among the students, and you can trigger the students' mind so that all minds can be made active. So please, before that, let us make our minds active. Sir has given general lecture, I feel, which has a lot of information in it. But he has not revealed anything. I think probably it is a secret of getting, I don't know, maybe copyrights. But you have to go to it, because I know, I many times I used to go and sit with him, he used to tell a lot of things. Even he has shown me some patent sites, and even sometime I have browsed the topics in which I am related. A lot of information, I am unable to spend much time. So those who are doing research, please use this idea of getting information from patents along with the information from our publications in journal. This will help us to continue our research and to make a good research, rather real research, instead of copying and getting or stealing information from others. In fact, the idea of conducting this workshop is just a few days back. Professor Kameshwar sir has come to me and he requested me to conduct a workshop on this, so that he wants to share some of the information that he has with him with regard to these patents. You know, he's a patent practitioner. If you want to file your patent, you can take the help of Professor Kameshwar. He's a licensed doctor in his field, and madam is there in your course, James. Right? Even Mr. Kumar also recently has completed his diploma. Am I correct, sir? Diploma in patent. It's a very interesting degree or diploma. Every one of us must understand, must use these patents to improve our research. Right? Anyway, I thank Professor Kameshwar Garu for making me to conduct this workshop on this day, because immediately I thought this is the best time to conduct this workshop, and I thank Madam Uma Parameshwaran for sparing us time with us, sharing her ideas and her experiences with all of us. These few words, I once again thank the two speakers for spending their time in enlightening us about this patent laws and patent. Thank you all.